How? There's no way that a man could be a prosperous man and God be with him that has gone through all of these things unless he learned to get his attitude right. Somewhere in a place in prayer, he learned to get rid of himself and say, God, I know this has happened to me. I know my brother's betrayed me. I know I've been sold into slavery. I know this isn't right. But God, I trust that your hand is upon my life. And I give it unto you. And whatever you put before me, I'm going to do it as I'm serving you. Oh, what if we could live with that kind of attitude? How would God begin to bless us? Let's see what happens. Read on. Yeah. Go.
And his master saw that the Lord was with him, and that the Lord made all that he did prosper in his way. And Joseph found grace in his sight, and served him, made him an overseer over his house.
Did you see that? Did you see that? God began to bless everything that he touched. And Potiphar saw this and made him overseer. Do you see how powerful that is? He set him up and said, okay, I'm going to put you over my house, a slave. This isn't a hired man. I'm going to put a slave over my house, and he's going to handle all of my affairs. Look at verse 5. It came to pass in the time that he had made him overseer in his house over all that he had, that the Lord blessed the Egyptian's house for Joseph's sake. And the blessing of the Lord was upon all that he had in the house and in the field. And he left all that he had in Joseph's hand, and he knew not all he had, save the bread which he did eat. And Joseph was a goodly person and well favored. So a couple of things that we want to point out here. Basically, Potiphar said, okay, Joseph, you're going to do all the buying and the selling. I'm giving you the checkbook. You're going to pay all the bills. I want you to handle everything. Potiphar didn't know anything except the food that he ate. And he didn't worry about it because Joseph was doing a better job than he could have done himself. That's a pretty good slave. And it says that Joseph was a goodly person and well favored. That means he was good looking. He was pleasant on the eyes. And somebody cast their eyes upon Joseph. Look at verse 7. And it came to pass after these things that his master's wife cast her eyes upon Joseph. And she said, lie with me. And she didn't want him to go off and they tell a bunch of stories together. You know what I'm talking about.
Right.
But he refused and said unto his master's wife, behold, my master wotteth not what is with me in the house, and he hath committed all that he hath to my hand. There is none greater in this house than I, neither hath he kept back any living thing from thee, because thou art his wife. How then can I do this great wickedness and sin against God? And it came to pass, as he spoke to Joseph day by day, that he hearkened not unto her to lie by her, or to be with her. And it came to pass about this time that Joseph went into the house to do his business. And there was none of the men in the house there within. And she called him by his garment, saying, lie with me. And he left his garment in her hand, and fled, and got him out. So he left his clothes with her, and he said, I'm getting out of here. I'm in the wrong place at the wrong time, and I allowed myself to get into the wrong situation.
Right.
And he got himself out. And we can learn a lot from that.
Right.
When you find yourself in a situation that you really shouldn't be in, the best thing to do is just run.
Right.
Get out of there. And that's what Joseph did. But let's see what happened. Verse 13.
And it came to pass when he saw that he had
Can you see? Can you picture this? Can you picture what's going on here? He did the right thing, and she decided I've been refused one too many times. And then, plus, I got to explain why this naked guy running around the house.
Nice.
And she cries rape. And she lays his garment up beside her on the bed. And she works up a good old sob story. And she's ready to tell this sob story when Potiphar comes home. And she begins to tell Potiphar this story. But what does she say? Let's look at this.
And she spake unto him according to these words, saying, The Hebrew servant which thou hast brought from us came in unto me in the night. And it came to pass as I lifted up my voice and cried, that he left his garment with me and fled out. And it came to pass heard the word of his wife, and she spake unto him, saying, After this manner is thy servant that his wrath was kindled.
Now, she told her husband this sob story. And it says that his wrath was kindled. Basically, he got mad. She had this sob story. And who do you think Potiphar is going to believe?
His wife.
But really, I don't think Potiphar believed his wife. I don't think he got mad because he believed his wife's story. I think he got mad because he realized he's about to lose the best slave, the best servant, the overseer of his entire house, and his blessing. I believe he got mad about that. He knew what kind of wife his woman was, probably. What kind of woman his wife was. I said that back. He knew. Probably this wasn't the first time it's happened. He knew she was lying. The reason I know this is because by Egyptian law, at this time, a slave being accused of such a thing against an Egyptian citizen, there was one thing for him. He should have got his head cut off. But Potiphar knew that the story was not true. So he took and threw him into the prison instead. Let's see what happens here. Verse number 20. And Joseph's master took him and put him into the prison, a place where the king's prisoners were bound. And he was there in the prison. But the Lord was with Joseph, showed him mercy, and gave him favor in the sight of the keeper of the prison. Look at this. Now, if anybody has a right to be bitter and depressed and full of self-pity and cry, woe is me. God, why me? I did the right thing and now I'm in prison. I'm betrayed by my brethren. Now I'm betrayed by my master's wife. Why me? But I believe somewhere he found that place in prayer. And he was able to get himself out of the way. Do you realize how powerful this is right here? That if we could get ourselves out of the way, the blessing God can bring to us. God, not my will, but your will be done. And I believe he got to a place with God that God could bless him in the midst of his circumstance. And I believe that's the will of God to do for his children. Circumstances and situations may come your way, but God can bless you in the midst of your circumstance. Where did I stop? Verse 21?
Right.
Verse 22. And the keeper of the prison committed to Joseph's hand all the prisoners that were in the prison.